I heard the champagne flute hit the marble floor before I saw my father's face twist into that smile. You know the one. The smile that says I've been waiting for this moment. The smile that turns a family dinner into an execution. My name is Angelica, and for 28 years, I thought I understood my place in my family. I was the disappointment. The one who chose teaching over corporate law. The one who lived in a modest apartment in Austin instead of the family estate in Dallas. The one whose accomplishments were met with polite nods while my older brother's mediocre quarterly reports earned standing ovations. But that night, the night I came home to announce my engagement, I learned exactly how deep that disappointment ran. Let me see it, my mother said, her voice bright and brittle like expensive china. She reached for my left hand across the table, and I should have known. I should have pulled back. But hope is a stupid, stubborn thing. I extended my hand. The ring caught the light from the chandelier, a simple solitaire, vintage gold, with a small but flawless diamond my fiancé had chosen himself. It wasn't massive. It wasn't from Tiffany's. But it was mine, and it was perfect, and I loved it. My father leaned in. Squinted. Then he laughed. Not a chuckle. Not a polite cough. A full, booming laugh that echoed off the vaulted ceilings of the dining room. That's it, he said. Angelica, sweetheart, who would ever marry you with that? If you've ever had someone you love cut you down in front of everyone, drop a comment and tell me you're not alone. I need to know I'm not the only one who's lived through this. Let me paint you a picture of the Carter family. We live and they live in Preston Hollow, the wealthiest neighborhood in Dallas. My father, Richard Carter, built a commercial real estate empire from the ground up. 3 generations of Texas oil money married into tech investments and property development. The kind of money that buys silence, influence, and the belief that you're always right. My mother, Patricia, came from old Houston money. Debutante balls, charity galas, the junior league. She taught me young that appearance was everything. That the right dress, the right school, the right ring could determine your entire future. My brother, Richard Jr., we call him RJ, was the golden child. Yale. McKinsey. Now VP of Acquisitions at Dad's firm despite losing $2 million on a strip mall investment last year that everyone pretended didn't happen. And then there was me. I went to UT Austin. Studied English literature. Became a high school English teacher. I made $48,000 a year and spent my afternoons helping kids write college essays instead of drafting contracts for my father's empire. The disappointment was never stated outright. It lived in the pauses. In the way my mother introduced me at parties, this is Angelica, our daughter. She teaches. The word teaches delivered like an apology. So when I met Marcus, kind, brilliant, soft-spoken Marcus who worked in tech and loved poetry and made me laugh until I forgot what my father's approval felt like, I thought maybe this would change things. I thought an engagement might finally earn me a seat at the table. I was wrong. 15,000, my father said, still laughing. Maybe 20 if he overpaid? He picked up his wine glass. Swirled it. The Chateau Margaux he'd opened for what was supposed to be a celebration. RJ's fiancé has a 4-carat Cartier, he continued. But I suppose teachers, and there, what does he do again, Angelica? Tech support. He's a software engineer, I said quietly. My throat felt tight. Right. Software. My father said it like it was janitorial work. Well, I'm sure he's doing his best with what he makes. My mother touched my hand. Darling, it's lovely. Really? It's just different than what we're used to. Different. That word had followed me my entire life. RJ, sitting across from me with his perfectly knotted tie and his smug silence, didn't even bother defending me. His fiancée, Brittany, a corporate attorney with a Hermes bag collection, examined her own ring like she was comparing grades. "You know what?" I said, standing up. "I think we should leave." My father said. "You came alone, sweetheart. Marcus is picking me up. He had a work commitment." My father snorted. "Of course he did." That's when I should have walked out. Should have grabbed my coat and never looked back. But my mother's voice stopped me. "Stay for dessert," she said. "Please." "Your father didn't mean." "I meant every word," my father interrupted. He leaned back in his chair, that smile still carved into his face. "Angelica needs to understand the world. Marriage is a contract. A merger. This ring," he gestured vaguely, "tells everyone exactly what kind of merger she's entering." The champagne flute shattered when I threw it. I didn't plan to. My hand just moved. The glass hit the marble and exploded into 1,000 glittering pieces, champagne spreading across the floor like an accusation. No one spoke. I grabbed my purse. Walked toward the door. And that's when the doorbell rang. Marcus was early. I could see him through the frosted glass panels beside the front door. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing the navy suit he'd bought for client meetings. I felt a surge of gratitude so intense it almost knocked me over. I needed out of this house. I needed air. I opened the door. "Hey," he said softly, reading my face immediately. "Bad?" "Worse." Behind me, I heard my father's footsteps. His voice boomed through the foyer. "So this is the software engineer." He appeared beside me, hand already extended, that corporate smile locked in place. "Richard Carter. Angelica's father." Marcus shook his hand. "Marcus Chen." "Good to meet you, sir." "Chen," my father repeated. "Chinese?" "Taiwanese American," Marcus said evenly. "Third generation." I wanted to die. I wanted the floor to open and swallow us both. My mother appeared, smoothing her skirt. "Won't you come in?" "We were just finishing dinner." "We're leaving," I said. "Nonsense," my father said. "Marcus, you haven't even had dessert. Besides, I'd love to hear about this tech support job." "Software engineering," I corrected. My voice was ice. Marcus put a hand on my shoulder. "It's okay," he said. Then, to my father, "Sure. I can stay for a few minutes." This is where everything changed. If you're watching this and you've ever seen someone completely underestimated right before they proved everyone wrong, hit that subscribe button. You'll want to see where this goes. We sat in the living room. My mother brought coffee. My father poured himself a scotch. RJ and Brittany had migrated from the dining room, sensing entertainment. "So, Marcus," my father began, settling into his leather armchair like a king on a throne. "Tell me about yourself. Where'd you study?" "MIT," Marcus said. "Undergrad." "Then Stanford for my master's." My father's eyebrow twitched. "Just barely." "Impressive. And now you're doing, what, exactly?" "App development?" "I work in machine learning and AI infrastructure," Marcus said. "Specifically, I build systems that help companies optimize their data processing and predictive modeling." The words meant nothing to my father. I could see it in his eyes. "Sounds complicated," my father said. "What's that pay these days?" 6 figures? I stood up. Dad, It's fine, Marcus said. He was still smiling. That calm, patient smile he used when explaining complex problems to people who didn't want to understand. I do okay. Because I have to be honest, my father continued, gesturing with his scotch glass, that ring you gave my daughter. It's modest. And I'm concerned about her future. About whether you can provide the lifestyle she deserves. The lifestyle I deserve? I repeated. Dad, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment and drive a Honda Civic. What lifestyle are you even? The lifestyle you could have, my father snapped. If you'd made better choices. If you'd joined the firm like we planned. If you'd married someone with real prospects instead of. He looked at Marcus. No offense. None taken, Marcus said. But I saw it. The tiny muscle in his jaw that tightened when he was angry. My mother tried to redirect. Richard, maybe we should. I'm just saying, my father continued, marriage is about partnership. About building something together. And I look at this ring, I look at you, and I think, what exactly are you building? RJ laughed. Actually laughed. Dad, come on. You're being harsh. I'm being realistic, my father said. Angelica, you're my daughter and I love you. But you've made one impractical choice after another. Teaching. That apartment. And now this. This what? I said. My hands were shaking. This mistake. The room went silent. Marcus stood up. Mr. Carter, he said quietly, can I ask you a question? My father waved his hand. Sure. How much do you think I make? My father smiled. I don't know. 80,000? Maybe 100 if you're senior level? Try again. Marcus, I started. It's okay, Angelica. He looked at my father. I make $750,000 a year. Base salary. Not including stock options, which are currently valued at about $3 million. The room froze. But that's not what you asked about, is it? Marcus continued. You asked about the ring. That ring cost $35,000. It's a 1920s Cartier solitaire. I had it restored by the original craftsman's apprentice in New York. The diamond is flawless, certified, and ethically sourced. I chose it because it reminded me of Angelica, elegant, timeless, and worth far more than its appearance suggests. My father's face had gone white. But let's talk about building something, Marcus said. 3 years ago, I founded a startup. We developed AI-driven analytics for commercial real estate. Specifically, we help companies identify undervalued properties and predict market trends. Last month, we were acquired by a Fortune 100 company for $85 million. He reached into his jacket pocket. Pulled out his phone. Pulled up something on the screen and handed it to my father. That's the Forbes article, Marcus said. Published 2 weeks ago. 30 under 30, Tech Innovators Reshaping Real Estate. My father stared at the screen. My mother's coffee cup rattled in its saucer. RJ looked like he'd been punched. I didn't tell Angelica about the acquisition until yesterday, Marcus continued. Because I wanted to be sure she loved me for who I am, not what I have. And she did. She said yes, to this ring, to this life, without knowing any of it. He took his phone back. So to answer your question, Mr. Carter, what am I building? I'm building a life with someone who values character over net worth. Who chose a meaningful career over money. Who's kind, brilliant, and brave enough to love someone you clearly taught her wasn't worth loving. He looked at me. Extended his hand. Ready to go, he said. I took his hand. My legs felt like water. We walked to the door. Behind us, the silence was deafening. We sat in Marcus's car for 10 minutes before I could speak. You never told me, I finally said. I know. 30 under 30. 85 million. I was going to tell you after the wedding, he said. I wanted you to choose me. Just me. I started laughing. Then crying. Then both at once. Marcus handed me tissues from the glove compartment and waited. My father's face, I said between sobs. Did you see? I saw. He's never been wrong about anything in his entire life. Well, Marcus said, starting the engine, there's a first time for everything. We drove to my apartment. Ordered Thai food. Sat on my tiny balcony overlooking downtown Austin and didn't talk about my family at all. But my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts from my mother, please call me. Texts from RJ, that was insane. Dad's losing it. Texts from my father, nothing. The silence from him was somehow worse. My mother called the next morning. Your father wants to apologize, she said. Does he? Angelica, please. He was shocked. He didn't know. He didn't ask, I said. He assumed. He's been assuming my entire life. He's your father. And I'm his daughter. When does that start mattering? She was quiet for a long time. Then, Sunday. Family brunch. Please. Let him make this right. I told her I'd think about it. Marcus said it was my choice. That he'd support whatever I decided. But I could see it in his eyes, the hurt that he'd tried to hide. The knowledge that my family had looked at him and seen nothing but dollar signs and racial stereotypes and a modest ring that didn't meet their standards. I almost said no. But something in me, some stupid, stubborn hope, wanted to believe my father could change. So on Sunday, we went. We're halfway through the story, and I need to know, would you have gone to that brunch? Or would you have walked away for good? Drop your answer in the comments. And if you're invested in seeing how this ends, make sure you're subscribed because the second half gets even more intense. The Preston Hollow estate looked exactly the same. Pristine. Intimidating. The fountain in the circular driveway, the perfectly trimmed hedges, the door that had always felt more like a checkpoint than a welcome. My mother answered. Kissed my cheek. Shook Marcus's hand warmly. He's in the study, she said. He wants to talk. Just the three of you. My stomach dropped. The study was my father's domain. Mahogany desk, floor-to-ceiling law books he'd never read, framed photos of him with senators and CEOs. The room where he told me at 17 that teaching was a backup plan for people without ambition. He stood when we entered. Extended his hand to Marcus. I owe you an apology, he said. Marcus shook his hand. Said nothing. My father struggled with the word. Inappropriate. I made assumptions about your career, your background, your intentions with my daughter. I was wrong. It sounded rehearsed. My mother had written this. I appreciate that, Marcus said carefully. My father turned to me. Angelica, I'm sorry. I've been hard on you. Your choices. Your life. I thought I was protecting you. Preparing you. But I see now I was just Controlling me, I finished. His jaw tightened. But he nodded. Yes. For a moment, I thought this might actually work. That we might find some fragile peace. Then my father said, "So I have a proposition." And I knew. "Marcus," my father said, settling into his desk chair, "I've done some research. Your company, the one you sold. Very impressive. Innovative approach to commercial real estate analytics." "Thank you," Marcus said. "I could use someone like you," my father continued. "My firm is expanding. We're acquiring properties in Atlanta, Phoenix, Denver. We need better predictive modeling. Better data infrastructure." He leaned forward. "I want to offer you a position. Chief Technology Officer. 250,000 base. Stock options. Full benefits. You'd work directly with me and RJ on acquisitions." I felt the air leave the room. "Dad," I said, "what are you?" "I'm offering your fiancé a job, Angelica. A real position with real prospects. A chance to be part of something bigger than a startup that got lucky." Marcus's face was unreadable. "That's generous," he said slowly. "It is," my father agreed. "And it would mean relocating to Dallas, of course. Which works out well. Angelica can transfer her teaching to a school here. We can set you up in the guest house until you find a place. Keep the family close." That's when I understood. This wasn't an apology. This was a takeover. My father couldn't stand being wrong. Couldn't stand that I'd chosen someone successful without his approval. So now he was going to absorb Marcus into the family business, relocate us to Dallas, put us in the guest house where he could monitor and manage and control every aspect of our lives. He was going to turn my marriage into another acquisition. "No," I said. "Angelica. No. We're not doing this. Marcus has his own career. I have my job in Austin. We're building our own life." My father's expression hardened. "You're being impractical again." "I'm being myself." "You're being stubborn." He looked at Marcus. "Talk some sense into her. This is a good offer. More than good. It's a chance to be part of something that matters." And that's when Marcus smiled. "Mr. Carter," Marcus said, "I appreciate the offer. I really do. But I have to decline." My father blinked. "You're turning down 250,000? "Yes." Marcus leaned back in his chair. "Because after the acquisition, my net worth is approximately $38 million. I don't need a salary. I don't need stock options. I definitely don't need to work for someone who spent an entire dinner mocking the woman I love." He stood up. "But more than that," Marcus continued, "I don't need to be part of something that matters according to your definition. I've built something that matters to me. Angelica has built something that matters to her. And we're going to keep building it, together, in Austin, on our terms." My father's face was turning red. "You're making a mistake." "No," Marcus said. "I'm making a choice. The same choice Angelica made when she became a teacher. When she moved to Austin. When she said yes to me. She chose authenticity over approval. And I'm choosing her." He looked at me. "Ready?" I stood. My heart was hammering. "Angelica," my father said, his voice low and dangerous, "if you walk out that door, don't expect to be welcomed back." My mother gasped. "Richard." "I mean it," he said. "You want to choose this life? Fine. But don't come crying to me when you realize what you've given up. I looked at him. Really looked at him. And for the first time in my life, I didn't see a father. I saw a man who needed control more than he needed love. Who measured worth in dollars and square footage and the size of engagement rings. Who would rather lose his daughter than admit he was wrong? I'm not giving anything up, I said quietly. I'm walking away from something that was never really mine. We left. This time, we didn't look back. For 3 months, my parents didn't call. My mother sent a few texts. Gentle. Apologetic. But nothing substantial. My father sent nothing. RJ reached out once. Asked if I was really going through with this. I told him yes. He said, "Your funeral," and hung up. At first, it hurt. The silence was a weight I carried everywhere. Every holiday, every Sunday, every moment I thought about calling and then remembered my father's ultimatum. But slowly, something else grew in that space. Freedom. Marcus and I planned our wedding. Small. Intimate. A vineyard outside Austin with 50 people who actually loved us. My best friend from college was my maid of honor. Marcus's sister flew in from San Francisco. We wrote our own vows and cried through them and danced until midnight. My parents weren't there. And I was okay. We honeymooned in Japan. Came back to Austin. Started looking at houses. Marcus joined an AI ethics nonprofit board. I got promoted to department chair at my school. We built a life. And it was good. But the story doesn't end there. 6 months after the wedding, my mother called. "Your father's in the hospital," she said. My stomach dropped. What happened? Heart attack. Mild, he's stable. But Angelica. Her voice cracked. He's asking for you. I drove to Dallas that night. Marcus came with me. The hospital room was sterile and too bright. My father looked smaller somehow. Older. The machines beeped steadily beside him. He opened his eyes when I walked in. "Angelica," he said. His voice was hoarse. "I'm here." He looked at Marcus. Then back at me. "I'm sorry," he said. Not rehearsed this time. Raw. "I've been a terrible father. I tried to control you because I was afraid. Afraid you'd get hurt. Afraid you'd fail. Afraid you'd succeed without me and prove I was never necessary." Tears ran down his face. "But you did succeed. And I missed it. I missed your wedding. I missed everything. Because I was too proud to admit I was wrong." I pulled a chair close. Took his hand. "You were wrong," I said quietly. "About Marcus. About my choices. About what matters. I know. And you hurt me. For years. You made me feel like I was never enough. I know." I squeezed his hand. "But you're still my father. And I still love you. And if you actually mean this, if you're actually ready to change, then we can figure this out." He nodded. Couldn't speak. My mother cried in the corner. Marcus stood by the door, giving us space, but his presence was steady. Supportive. We stayed until visiting hours ended. My father recovered. Slowly. And something in him did change. Not overnight. Not completely. But enough. He started calling on Sundays. Asked about my students. About Marcus's nonprofit work. About our house search. He apologized to Marcus. Really apologized. Invited us to dinner and actually listened when Marcus explained his work. He even came to Austin. Visited my school. Met my students. Saw the college acceptance letters on my bulletin board, kids I'd helped get into schools they dreamed of. Kids whose lives I'd changed. "You're good at this," he said quietly, standing in my classroom after the bell rang. "I know," I said. He smiled. "I should have told you that years ago." "Yes. You should have. We're not perfect. We probably never will be." There are still moments when he slips into old patterns. When he offers unsolicited advice or makes comments about our modest lifestyle. But now I call him on it. And he apologizes. And we move forward. RJ and I are working on our relationship too. Slowly. My mother and I talk every week. It's not the family I imagined. But it's the family we're building. Honestly. Imperfectly. Together. If this story hit home for you, if you've ever had to set boundaries with family or walk away to find yourself, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment, tell me your story, and make sure you're subscribed because I share real stories about real people finding their strength. This is where we support each other. Here's what I learned. Your worth isn't determined by other people's standards. Not your parents'. Not society's. Not anyone's but your own. For years, I let my father's disappointment define me. I thought if I just achieved enough, earned enough, became enough, he'd finally be proud. But the problem was never me. It was his inability to see value in anything that didn't match his narrow definition of success. Marcus taught me that. Not with grand gestures or expensive rings or Forbes articles. But with the quiet certainty that I was enough exactly as I was. And when I finally believed it, when I chose myself over my father's approval, everything changed. Walking away hurt. Setting boundaries hurt. Enforcing them hurt. But staying would have destroyed me. So if you're in a relationship, family, romantic, friendship, where you're constantly shrinking yourself to fit someone else's expectations, hear me, you deserve more. You deserve to be loved for who you are, not who someone wants you to be. And sometimes love means walking away. Sometimes it means standing in a hospital room holding your father's hand and saying, "I forgive you, but things have to change." Sometimes it means building a life so beautiful, so authentic, so undeniably yours that no one can take it from you. That's the life Marcus and I built. That's the life you deserve too. Final thoughts. My engagement ring sits on my finger right now. The 1920s Cartier solitaire that my father mocked and Marcus chose with such care. It's worth $35,000. But its real value? Immeasurable. It represents the moment I stopped asking for permission to be myself. The moment I chose love over approval. The moment I learned that the people who truly matter will love you for exactly who you are, modest apartment, Honda Civic, teaching career and all. My father sees that now. Or he's learning to. And I'm learning to let him back in. Carefully. With boundaries. With clear expectations. Because that's what real family does. They grow. They change. They choose each other, again and again, even when it's hard. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. If you got something from this, if it made you think or feel or remember your own journey, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your story in the comments below. You never know who needs to hear it. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, you are enough. You've always been enough. The right people will see it. I promise.